is St. Gabriel,
Fair
Louisiana.
use.
The small town is home to local beauty Brittany Martin.
Brittany Martin was very outgoing, did well in school. Then after graduation, she attempted to receive a higher education degree. But by the time she enrolled in Delgado Community College, she was pregnant.
The baby derailed some of her education plans.
With her baby's father no longer in the picture, Brittany took the role of single mom in stride, working temp jobs to make ends meet. But Brittany craved something more stable.
Brittany Martin, at age 21, started working as a prison guard.
Being a corrections officer presented to her financial stability, what she needed at that time because she now had a child to raise.
Brittany's primary duty was inmate supervision.
She was actually responsible for monitoring the interactions of the inmates, make sure that they were following protocol, that it was a calm environment, there was no inappropriate activities going on.
Though the job gave Brittany a regular paycheck, it also presented a slew of unexpected challenges.
Brittany is very, very attractive. She has those features that would draw a man's attention to her.
To be a 21-year-old prison guard, a woman in an institution filled with men, she's the center of attention, obviously, for lots and lots of inmates.
There was sexual harassment and the psychological distress from having to be in that working environment on a day-to-day basis.
However, there was one inmate, a man named Horatio Johnson, who went out of his way to make sure Brittany felt safe.
Horatio was serving a sentence but was held in very high regard, and so he was also a protective barrier for her against any of the other inmates. She was not getting the cat calls, the threats.
He was very smart. He was a very good-looking individual. He's very charismatic.
He didn't come off as your average criminal or what we want to think about as your average criminal.
But underneath Horatio's charm was a man with a vicious criminal history.
He had gone to prison for manslaughter. The facts of that case are disturbing.
Horatio waited for somebody to come in the area, and he jumped out, shot him in the face with a shotgun.
Despite Horatio's history of violence, Brittany soon developed feelings for him.
Small talk develops into conversation. You're getting to know them, they're getting to know you, and it makes you want to like them back.
Eventually, prison officials caught on that there was something going on with the two of them, that there was an illicit relationship taking place.
They found letters and pictures in Mr. Johnson's possession from her to him. And she was given the opportunity to resign without having to go through administrative process.
Brittany may have quit her job at the prison, but her feelings for Horatio only grew stronger.
Brittany planned her future with him, saw him as the man that she wanted to help raise her son and to have her own family with, and a house and a white picket fence.
She adored him. He made her feel good about herself.
She was in love with Horatio. She was head over heels over this guy.
When Horatio was paroled 4 months later, Brittany was right there waiting for him.
Horatio looks like the kind of kid that you take home to mama.
He was someone who seemed to be well educated, seemed to be very business savvy.
Brittany believed she and Horatio would be together forever. But little did she know, her fairy tale romance wouldn't have a happy ending.
Fair use.
25-year-old former prison guard Brittany Martin found the man of her dreams in recently paroled felon Horatio Johnson.
Brittany was very, very madly in love with Horatio Johnson.
Along with the gruesome lengths Brittany was willing to go to in order to prove her love for him. It starts when investigators recover Kenneth Joseph's battered body from the same murky waterway where his wife 𝐜𝐴𝐚'𝐬 was found 12 days earlier.
This murder definitely stood out as an unusual kind of story just for the very brutal nature of the killings, the mystery of what had happened to this couple, who possibly could have done this to them, and why they would do it in this manner.
Investigators speak with store managers in the New Orleans area about their kettlebell stock, looking for a match. And they find one.
The manager runs a little SKU number. Because, we had a sale. Show after midnight one night. What was sold? 2 kettlebells, gloves, blue rope. Our hearts stopped. Oh my God, this is it. This is the sale. I'm like, can you get video?
The manager sends over the store's surveillance footage for detectives to view.
Lo and behold, we see a couple, a male and female. They're in the self-checkout area, and they're purchasing all these items.
They purchased 2 35-pound kettlebells, 3 pairs of gloves, 2 pairs of men's shoes, 2 men's hoodies, and some cleaner, what we've referred to as the murder kit.
It's a jaw-dropping discovery, but not nearly as shocking as the name on the credit card used to purchase the so-called murder kit.
When they were able to further trace that purchase, it was signed with a credit card belonging to Brittany Martin.
Is Brittany Martin somehow involved in the murders of Kenneth and 𝐜𝐻𝐚'𝐬? Or has her credit card been stolen? When detectives pull Brittany's ID and take a closer look at the store's surveillance video, the answer becomes plain as day.
Surveillance video captured them walking in. And one of the things that struck me is she's smiling, and the look on her face is just such a look of love and admiration.
Fair use.
Are investigating the murders of husband and wife Kenneth and 𝐜𝐻𝐚'𝐬. After tracing the purchase of the so-called murder kit, the kettlebells, blue rope, and other supplies to a local retail store, investigators have come across an unlikely new suspect.
When they were able to further trace that purchase, they found it was signed with a credit card belonging to Brittany Martin.
Why would this kind, warm-hearted mom be involved in such a heinous crime?
We do some research. Brittany Martin, she has no history, no criminal history, but this major transgression where she crossed the line and had this inappropriate contact with Horatio Johnson in jail.
Horatio Johnson had a lengthy, violent history.
It appeared that he simply was a bad guy, heinous, evil individual.
Detectives also discover that Horatio has a connection with the male victim.
Horatio Johnson and Kenneth Joseph were cousins.
Had Brittany's love for Horatio compelled her to help him commit not 1, but 2 murders? And what was the motive? On April 9th, detectives bring Brittany into the station for questioning.
I attempted to interview her. I explained to her I felt like she was in grave danger because I knew Horatio Johnson's history, and I knew that if he felt like she stood in his way from freedom or going to jail, that he would kill her too.
So at that point, she shuts them down.
Brittany opens her cell phone, claiming that she needs to speak to her attorney.
And you can tell she's actually on the phone with Horatio.
It was pretty obvious that her loyalty really was with Horatio.
Between Brittany's phone call, the credit card purchase, and the surveillance video, police are fairly certain the 2 lovers are involved in the murders. But the evidence is purely circumstantial, and investigators are still unable to tie Brittany or Horatio to the blood-stained van.
And anything I said to her was just going to fall upon deaf ears, so she was free to go.
Once Brittany is released, detectives circle back to the stolen van and Stephen Bradley's connection to the case. Detectives eventually locate Stephen and bring him in for questioning.
Once we got to the interview room, he was willing to talk, and Bradley tells us that he knows Horatio Johnson. When was the last time you talked to Horatio?
Man, it's been a minute. Horatio know me from music. My reason for dealing with Horatio is to get heard.
Stephen Bradley was a struggling rapper trying to make it.
At a recording studio, and Horatio showed up with the van.
He was like, man, I need to get rid of this van. So I'm like, man, what's the problem? Yeah, like, man, I just need to get rid of it. I said, don't worry, I got it.
Fair use.
Stephen Bradley tells investigators a man named Blue owned the recording studio, and the two of them drove the van to Frank Mike Jr.'s house.
Bradley said they noted what they suspected to be blood in the back of the van.
No, like real talk, like I know they had blood in it.
Was it on the roof, on the wall?
On the floor.
Detectives press Bradley for more information, but that's all he's willing to say.
I feel like he knew more about the bodies, but as the interview progressed, Bradley shut down. He wanted to speak with his attorney prior to giving up any more information, so at that point I had to terminate the interview.
Investigators are getting closer to solving this mystery, but they still don't understand how or why someone like Brittany Martin would be involved in a crime like this. Nor do they have enough evidence to make an arrest. That is, until an associate of Stephen Bradley's comes forward.
He tells me that he had a direct conversation with Bradley. Bradley more or less confessed.
He said, I need to get this off my chest. And then he started telling me what happened. And I was like, I kept saying, I do not want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
According to the witness, Stephen said he was hanging out with Blue at the studio when Kenneth Joseph entered, accompanied by his cousin, Horatio.
He said that Horatio hit Kenneth with a chair, then placed the chair on top of Kenneth's throat, and then stood on the chair and then jumped onto his body.
He said he was just kind of standing there like Horatio was just, he was like an animal.
No reason was ever given. They never said that they were asking them questions or yelling at them for any particular reason to give up information.
To know that you're dying at the hands of someone that you share blood with, I can't imagine that.
Investigators don't need a clear motive for an arrest warrant. They just need evidence. And thanks to the witness's statement, now they've got it.
At this point in the investigation, I elected to apply for an arrest warrant for both Brittany and Horatio for the crime of second-degree murder.
Based on witness statements, credit card receipts, and surveillance footage, investigators believe 25 of Kenneth and 𝐜𝐿𝐴 Joseph.
From the store video overhead camera, you could see Horatio Johnson handling the kettlebell weights using the sleeve of his sweatshirt. He was being very careful not to leave any fingerprints even during the purchase, which looked very, very suspicious.
The receipt had been signed by Brittany Martin, who used her credit card.
Miss Martin's walking through the store as if it's another day. She looks like she's the happiest woman in the world.
I believe that she probably had a series of emotions while in that relationship with him. A part of her was afraid of him, but I think a part of it was she loved him. She was willing to do anything for him. He made her feel good about herself.
On May 6, 2014, nearly 2 months after the deaths of Kenneth and 𝐜𝐿𝐴 Joseph, police obtain arrest warrants for both Brittany and Horatio.
Once the arrest warrants were signed, Horatio and Brittany turned themselves in.
But even after turning themselves in, neither Brittany nor Horatio will speak to police.
Horatio, please don't make this more difficult than what it needs to be.
All right, so don't try to focus on it.
Can you call my son? Appreciate it.
Investigators allow the couple to reach out to their attorneys, but not before they collect their cell phones as evidence.
When you get into someone's phone, you get some deep details about what they're thinking. When I start seeing months after the actual killings, messages of "I love you," "I can't wait to see you," things of that nature, I knew that Brittany Martin is going to be a difficult person. And everyone always thinks go to the one she'll break first, but Brittany wasn't doing that.
With Brittany refusing to turn on Horatio, detectives decide to search the recording studio where Kenneth Joseph was allegedly attacked.
Unfortunately, when we went inside, the whole place had been remodeled.
Everything's cleaned up. There's no way this is a coincidence. So nothing was found in the studio that could further corroborate that story that something happened there.
Detectives attempt to find the studio's owner, the man known as Blue.
We had an arrest warrant for him, but we can't seem to find him. By all accounts, he left the country.
With Blue in the wind, detectives obtain an arrest warrant for Stephen Bradley. But like Brittany, Stephen refuses to play ball.
He said, I want to be able to go into jail holding my head high. I'm not a rat. He refused to speak.
I'm done talking, man. I'm done talking.
Police arrest Frank Mike Jr., who also stonewalls them.
Nobody was talking to the police. Not one person. Not Brittany, not Frank.
A difficult case. In order to be able to piece together what happened and be able to prove our case beyond a reasonable doubt, we needed somebody from the inside.
That's when detectives come up with a plan they hope will turn Brittany Martin's undying loyalty to Horatio Johnson on its head. It involves Horatio's uncle, who lives in Texas, and a visit Horatio and Brittany paid him shortly after Horatio was paroled.
Horatio introduced him to Brittany, stating, this is the girl I love, this is the girl I'm going to marry.
When she walks off and is out of earshot, Horatio says, man, I don't love that girl. That girl's stupid. That girl's gullible. I'm just using her. I'll never marry her.
The prosecution provides a copy of the uncle's statement to Brittany's defense attorney.
At this point, she's been arraigned. She's no longer her son. She's not seeing her mother, and she's still standing by Horatio.
I said, Brittany, y'all will get married. She said, yeah, Mr. David. As soon as this is all over, he and I are going to get married. We already talked about it. We might move to Houston.
That's when Brittany's attorney shows her the statement from Horatio's uncle.
So she picks up the report, and she starts reading. And I could see her eyes well up with tears. She's about to cry. Then she put the paper down. She said, "You won't play me, huh? Call those people. I won't tell them the real story."
Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe. There, Patterns, I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Again, I want to give a big ups to my subscribers. I really appreciate all of y'all loyalty. I appreciate, y'all still being supportive of my movement, of my channel, of my platform. So again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all. So I definitely want to go ahead and get directly into today's recipe, today's topic. I definitely felt it was imperative that I discuss this, being that I am a former correctional officer. I am well aware of the games and manipulative tactics that inmates will utilize to their advantage. So I actually specialize in inmate psychology. So I am very much, familiar and experienced when it comes to the psyche or the manipulative psychology of inmates and the strategies and the tactics that they use, especially for especially for officers that are inexperienced. And in most cases, most inexperienced officers are young. And females are especially the most vulnerable when it comes to being a correctional officer. Now, I will state that you also have male rookie officers that are also easy to pawn. They're also easy to manipulate. Basically because the issue was a lot of the young male officers, most of the inmates that are in the facility are around their age. And even though these inmates are criminals, the fact that they can relate to each other as men, you know, basically an officer could be a male. And if he's in his 20s, he's 22, 23, and the majority of the inmates that he's constantly in contact with are within his same age range, they have a lot in common. So what tends to happen, how a lot of male inmates end up getting manipulated, is because a lot of them are bonding with them like the homeboy way. You know, they got this homeboy vibe. They homeboy them too much, you know. And that's what causes a lot of the male inmates, especially the young ones that are under the age of 25. That is what causes them to partake in inmate corruption, because again, they're too busy homeboying the inmates. And if they lack professionalism and lack common sense, they can easily get set up by male inmates as well. So it's not just simply that female inmates could be targeted. I mean, I keep saying inmates. Female officers could be targeted. Male officers can be targeted as well. But in this particular case, I wanted to discuss Miss Brittany Martin, which of course was a former officer. And she ended up getting herself caught up in a very bad situation with an inmate. And this is why I felt the need to break this down, because actually this is a perfect scenario. This is a perfect example as to how female inmates could easily be mentally infiltrated by the psyche or the mindset, the manipulativeness of an inmate. Now, if you're not in corrections, but you're considering doing corrections, these are some very constructive tips that may help you avoid getting caught up, you know, in these type of situations. Now, like I said, correctional officers get fired every day. It's one thing to get fired because you're coming in late too much. One thing to get fired because you're calling out too much. But what you don't want is to lose your job based on the fact that you got caught fraternizing with an inmate. I mean, if you're going to go out, if you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your profession, let the reason be for inmate. Let that be one of the last things you get terminated for. But being a former correctional officer, again, I am well aware of these type of, you know, the dynamics and the games, the head games that inmates will play. And basically, again, if you're thinking about corrections or if you're in corrections, this is basically helpful information that could avoid you from getting caught up in these type of scenarios. So the first thing I really wanted to point out was that Mr. The inmate, Mr. what the hell is his name? He got a funny ass name, y'all. I have to look at his name because he has a crazy ass name. I never heard of it before. But nevertheless, several things could have been avoided had Brittany Martin knew what she was really in for. Had she really been prepared, Horatio, that's his name. Has she really been prepared for the games, for the manipulative tactics that she was up against before she got involved in this profession? She probably would have thought twice. But this tends to happen a lot. It happened at the facility where I was. Is a couple of young women who haven't been in the who haven't really even been in the profession for like a year. A lot of them get caught up within 3 months, 6 months. In many cases, it's less than a year. A lot of them, they don't even wait that long before they're already used as a pawn. So, in this case, the same thing happened with Miss Brittany McCall. So the first mistake she made was, for one, as a female officer, she came there looking inconfident. She lacked confidence. This is how Horatio Johnson was able to infiltrate. He saw her lack of confidence. He saw her lack of assurance. She gave off the vibe of not being confident in herself as a woman, not having confidence in herself as an officer. One thing about these inmates, they may be criminals and they may be ruthless, and they may be disrespectful and all of these things. But one thing these inmates are not, and that is dumb. Inmates are not dumb. As a female officer, you're up against several elements. For one, you're dealing with men that are highly intelligent. Okay? Don't think because you have on a uniform and you got all these master's degrees and college degrees to become a police officer, and because you got a badge that automatically makes you smarter than them, or that automatically makes you better than them, because it does not. These men are very smart. Not only they're smart, they're very street smart, and in many cases they're not only just street smart, they're very intellectual. You have to realize these guys are well experienced. They've been in the streets for years. Brittany, on the other hand, she didn't have the street smarts. She hadn't been out there like that. She was a single mother. She wasn't about that life. She was a single mother, just working regular jobs to make her ends meet. She wasn't no hood broad. She ain't been on no gangs or nothing like that. She has no knowledge of the street life. All right. Not only that, she was young at the time. So those were already a lot of strikes against her. The fact that she was younger than him, and the fact that she didn't have the experience the men in the facility have, these inmates. So she was already at a disadvantage. Horatio spotted her weakness a mile away. And let me tell you something. It's like being a kitten in a pit bull in a cage with a bunch of pit bulls. You're a kitten in a cage with a bunch of pit bulls, and these pit bulls can smell your fear. They can look at that kitten. You put 5 pit bulls in the cage with a kitten. They can look at that kitten, just looking at that kitten, and tell that kitten is fragile because, for one, she's different from them because she's a kitten. For two, they can sense she knows she doesn't belong there. Inmates can smell fear. They can smell fear, and they can smell incompetence. Brittany, like a lot of these young female officers, she came in that facility, standing amongst those inmates. She looked lost. She looked lost in the sauce. She was vulnerable. And the biggest thing was she didn't put these inmates in their place when they was making cat calls, telling her how sexy she was, how fine she was. She didn't put a stop to it. She didn't put them in their place. And as a female officer, you cannot allow men to get comfortable with that. And if you're the type of female you love attention, you're attention seeking, you're attention starved, then I recommend you definitely not even get in this type of profession. Because when you have these dudes coming at you, telling you sexy, telling you beautiful, and you kiki, and you smiling, or you sit there and you let it go unchecked, you're creating monsters. And that's what Brittany did. Brittany let these inmates, because you got to realize, all of these inmates are not just young. They're not just black. Got different cultures of men. White men, Puerto Rican men, Mexican men, black men, young dudes, old dudes, unattractive men, attractive men. A lot of these men are built well together physically as far as they physique goes. So basically, she's in this facility, acting vulnerable, looking lost, allowing these inmates to disrespect her. They say all type of things to her. Instead of her nipping it in the bud, you're not going to address me as such. I'm Officer Brown. I'm Officer Williams. I'm Officer Jenkins. I'm not a street broad, sir. Do not address me in that manner, sir. Or if they want to keep being nasty and they're going to call you that anyway, guess what? Well, when they need something, they need soap, they need to make a phone call or something they need your permission to do, until you learn how to address me as such, sir, in the correct manner, sir. I will not reply or answer to anything that you may want or need. It's as simple as that. You got to check it from off the jump. So anyway, Mr. Johnson is seeing how these inmates are targeting her, is seeing that she's not checking them and putting them in their place, is seeing that she's acting defenseless, like she can't stand up for herself and put these dudes in her place. He played on that. He used it to his advantage. He basically came in as her knight in shining armor. He had to come in and intervene and tell these dudes, look here. Man, lay off her, man. Come on, bro. You're doing too much. Now, this is another huge mistake a lot of female officers make. Never, ever let another inmate come to your defense. I guarantee you, he ain't doing it just because he really cares about you and wants to look out for you and he trying to help you. He wants them to respect you. It's all game. I've been in situations in which I had an inmate get out of hand, get unruly, call me out my name or however, because I won't kiss his ass. I won't let him make that extra phone call. I won't let him get that extra pack of soup from, one of his cellmates or whatever. And I've had a few of them. I didn't get tried a lot because most of the guys knew how I rolled. So I didn't have to defend myself. I didn't have to put dudes in their place too often. But it was always 1 or 2 that would still try you. And of course, I had 1 or 2, type, you want me to get him? You want me to handle that for you, officer, CO? You want me to talk to him? No, I'm good. But I always tell them, no, I got him. Appreciate it. Thank you, but no thank you. I got him. I'm going to write his ass up. I don't need nobody to get nobody for me. Long as I got the power of the pen, I don't need anybody's coming to my defense. I got several ways I can deal with him. I don't need nobody's extra input. I don't need nobody's support. And that's exactly what I tell them. Well, I don't give them the long version like I'm giving y'all. But most of the time I tell them, no, I got him. I'm good. And I leave it at that. It may feel good to a female officer that's new to the game that out of all these pit bulls is one that's coming to your defense, who sees what's going on and is involved and trying to step in and intervene and help you. It may feel good for that moment, but what you're not understanding is you're setting yourself up to be played when you do that. First of all, no inmate should be checking another inmate for you. That is one of the policies and procedures. You never let an inmate check another inmate. Now, if that inmate goes off on their own without your permission and gets on another inmate, hey, don't bother Officer Williams, don't bother Officer Jenkins, blah, blah, blah. She good peoples. If he did it on his own, without your merit, without you agreeing, without you telling him to do it, then that's his personal business. But for you to co-sign and you sit there and you let him tell you what he gonna do, for instance, don't worry, Jenkins, I got him. I'm gonna get him. Sometimes these inmates are very slick. They won't ask you. They'll tell you. And if you slow and you don't catch it, they'll be done pull a fast one on you. Don't worry. Don't worry, CO. Don't worry, CO. I got that nigga. I know him. I'm going to holler at him. You need to stop him right then. No, sir. Some of them will talk real quick and then they'll walk away before you can say anything. And that's when you need to approach them. Hey, look here, Johnson. Don't worry about it. I got it. You check him then. You think slow, you move slow, they'll pull a fast one on you. As a female officer, I have learned it's not the big stuff that these inmates will pull. It's the little things. The big stuff is more evident. Like if you see an inmate beating up another inmate, okay, that's something big. You can stop and intervene in that. Well, you wait till your backup comes first, then you intervene in that. You see an inmate stealing extra trays or taking somebody's commissary, you can stop that because you see it. But it's the little disrespect that gets a lot of female officers caught up. You letting them get away with saying little stuff. Sexy. Hey, beautiful. Hey, so-and-so. Give you nicknames. And then another thing is sometimes when you check them about the nickname, I had one who wanted to call me auntie. Auntie's supposed to be like a badge of honor in the South. Like, I see you as family. Like, you cool peoples. I had to let him know, you not my nephew. How you getting mad? That's a compliment. No, I said a compliment to me is when you address me by my name. Officer Johnson. That's a compliment to me. Auntie and cuz, nah, that's not a compliment. That's an insult. I had to check that young dude right there. Because some of them, it may mean a compliment to them. But that's a problem. Y'all not in the streets. These are not your friends. These are not your homeboys. It's not a compliment in the prison, in the correctional facility. Think about it. That's not a good look if your lieutenant or your sergeant comes in and you done allow these guys to get accustomed to calling you auntie. Now you want to shut them down because you see it's getting out of hand and they're embarrassing you in front of your superiors, but it's too late because you done allow so many of them to do it. Now you want to check them. They're looking at you like you being phony. Oh, now because sergeant around, you got a problem with it. Any other time, you cool. That's why you got to check stuff. Because these guys, they hold on to that. And the moment you try to, they done did it 600 times. Now you want to put your foot down a day. Now you done created problems. So, the main thing was she allowed Mr. Johnson to come to her defense. He had to check inmates that she should have been checking. She was the one who had the authority. She was the one who had a professional part to play. That was her job, not his job. He saw her not doing her job, and it gave him the room to do it for her. Now at this point, not only that, because he has come to her defense, she done let her guard down. Big mistake. She done made herself get comfortable with him because now this man has defended her honor. Now, Mr. Smooth Talker, now he's coming in and talking at her. And I'm just gonna, play pretend. Because I'm around inmates all the time. I know how these jokers talk. I know the stuff they'll say. So, I'ma just pretend I'm Mr. Horatio on what I think got her caught up. He probably said something on the lines of this. Man, you a pretty woman, man. Why are you sitting up here letting these dudes disrespect you? Why you sitting up here letting these dudes, call you out your name, tell you sexy, you this, you that. You are already beautiful. You are already sexy. You don't need to be sitting up here letting these dudes disrespect you, telling you beautiful and you sexy. You need to check them niggas. That's why I checked them for you. Because I'm saying, you a beautiful woman. And I didn't care for the way these guys was coming at you. So on the strength, I went ahead and I shut it down for you. But I'm saying though, you know what I mean? Why is you sitting up here letting these guys get in your head like that? Once you let these dudes get in your head and start disrespecting you like that, now you putting me in a position where I got to put them in a place. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like how they coming at you. Now you putting me in a bad position. Because every time they come at you, I'm going to come at them. So anyway, what made you decide to do this type of job, man? First of all, you look too pretty. You look different from the rest of these female officers in here. A lot of these female officers come in here big, bust up, out of shape, over age. You know what I'm saying? You look nothing like these females. As pretty as you are, what made you decide to come in this type of profession, man? Somewhere she probably felt comfortable and told him whatever. But I'm saying though, you know what I mean? You got to, you got to not allow these dudes, you know what I'm saying, they get comfortable with disrespecting you, because then I'm going to have to disrespect them. You know what I'm saying? But don't worry about it. I got you. Any of these dudes in here give you problems, you know what I'm saying, let me know. I'll handle them, because I run shit around here. They all know me. I'm Johnson. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of respect around here. You know, all the dudes know how I roll and know how I rock. Any of the other dudes that here give you problems, let me know. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Because I want your ship to be smooth. You know what I mean? You ain't come here to work hard. You need to be relaxed. You need to be able to make your money peacefully. So any problems you have with any of these dudes here, you know what I'm saying, Ma, I got you. So he probably said something on the lines of that. He probably made her believe that if she has any problems, he'll be the one that can solve it for her. Instead of her going to her superiors or her sergeant or her lieutenant, she went to an inmate. Just say inmate went to her. So what ends up happening is everything starts off with conversation. Conversation is universal. Conversation makes the world go round. Doesn't have anything to do with how many degrees you got. It has nothing to do with how pretty you are. Has nothing to do with how successful you are. Conversation rules the world. If a man knows what to say, when to say it, how to say it, you can get got, ladies. So take all this anti-hate men, all of that, push all of that out the window. A man catch you at the right time, the right place, and the right position, you can get got. You're not an exception to the rules. Damn how many degrees we've seen women with degrees get used. We've seen women with money get used. We've seen women with success get used. They come at you at the right place, at the right time, depending on what you're going through. You can get got. He caught her at a vulnerable moment when she felt like she was by herself. And he knew what to say, and he knew how to say it. He probably was talking very low key, talking very inviting, very charming, had a very low key tone, very soothing. She allowed this inmate to get too close to her. And another thing, as a female officer, you cannot allow these dudes to get too close to you. Nothing wrong with talking to them, holding a conversation, but if you talking to this dude every day, every time you in the rec yard, you and him standing on the sidelines together, every day, he's getting too close. Once in a while, okay. Every day, you and this dude talking. Every day, you to his cell for 15, 20 minutes because he talking you to death. Even if it's good conversation. Because women, we love conversation. Women, we love to talk. And these inmates, they know that. And these inmates, they got time to talk. They'll talk to you all goddamn day. Where else they got to go? You so bored or inconfident with your job, you let an inmate talk you to death. No inmate should be in your face for a long period of time unless it's a detrimental situation. He's explaining something to you about he think an inmate out to get him or something going on. Or in some cases, I've had inmates that I've talked to for a while because they lost a loved one. But I knew when to cut it off. And I knew not to be so keyed in on them to where I'm not paying attention to what the other inmates are doing around me, because a lot of it too is just distraction. It's game. Have your back turned while you facing them so much. All the inmates behind you doing God knows whatever. Because you're so busy talking to him. And It's easy to get caught up because all conversation ain't bad conversation. Y'all both are discussing something y'all both have interest in. Like I had conversations with guys in the inmates where we like the same movies. You know, we traveled the same states. Oh, you been to Florida? Yeah, I've been to Florida. What part of Florida you been in? You know, small talk. But when the conversation is going on for 20, 15, 20 to 25 minutes to the point your back been turned the whole 15, 20 minutes, you know how much damage was done within 15 to 20 minutes? How these inmates been passing commissary, passing contraband for 20 to 25 minutes because you posted up on the wall. You posted up and talking to him in the cell. You posted up near the cell door. While it's 5, 6 other inmates that are out in the rec yard. Hiding shanks, hiding contraband, passing commissary. You can't have a tunnel vision. You can't be a tunnel vision person in this type of profession. So you got this vulnerable young woman who at the time I believe was what, 25? And the inmate was 37. Mr. Johnson was 37. She's already young. And really, this is why I don't care for young women getting in this type of profession. Because they don't have enough experience with men to know when they're being bullshitted. I recommend only women with experience. Really, women that's 30 and up should only be correctional officers. But I can't say that. I know some smart 21, 22-year-old females who are very hip and they know game. Like my daughter, she's 21 and she was a juvenile correctional officer. She did not allow, the guys wasn't able to get over on her. The females were to a certain degree, but never the guys. Unless you're a very mature 21, 22-year-old, you don't need to be in this type of profession. You slow and you love attention, you attention starved, attention seeking, you're not going to make it in this profession. So, she got very comfortable with the guy to the point other co-workers started noticing. And other inmates started noticing. This becomes a big problem because now when the inmates notice one inmate is getting close to you, now they're going to try the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll snitch, they'll report it. You got inmates who are jealous of other inmates. They get mad because they see this dude getting a lot of attention from this female officer. It's making them feel some type of way. He can grieve it on the kiosk. Kiosk is what is like this machine. It looks like a little ATM machine. They go on there and they can email your corporal, they can email sergeants, they can email and make it so bad. A lot of times, because you have a lot of these snakes in this type of profession, when an inmate reports something, they don't always tell you. They'll just watch you and observe you. An inmate can send an email, hey, Officer Johnson is always talking to inmate Wilson or Williams and blah, 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 blah. All this time, you don't even know you're being watched. You got inmates watching you, and you got your co-workers, you got your higher superiors, because your higher superiors, unless you bless and you have one that's good to you, will come to you and say, hey, I'm hearing stuff, whatever you're doing, shut that shit down immediately. If I was a higher superior, I would try to look out for officers and tell them, hey, know what you're doing, but you need to slow your roll. I ain't got to go into the details. You already know what you're doing. Shut that shit down before you lose your profession. But most of the time, you're going to have snakes that's going to sit right there and give you plenty of rope to hang yourself. See you doing dumb stuff, see you getting comfortable, and instead of being a good superior coming in and saving you, they'll sit right down and let you hang your damn self. So that's the other mistake. Too many people noticed. Her co-workers noticed. And she ended up losing her job. They let her resign instead of sending her to administrative, which she got lucky on that. That they just say, hey, we just gonna have to let you go. They ain't did all that extra stuff. So not only she got caught up in the inside, she got caught up on the outside. As soon as this dude made parole, she links back up with him. What a lot of female officers don't understand is that because these dudes are coming at you, they're not always coming at you because you're pretty and you're attractive. You are an opportunity. You are the missing puzzle to what they need to get things on the outside. Eventually, if they hadn't gotten rid of her, what would have happened was she would have been smuggling shit in there for them. She would have been smuggling things. She would have been smuggling cell phones. She would have been smuggling drugs. If he already had her in the head, if he already had her head, he was going to have her to do other things. It's just going to get worse. The demands was going to get higher. And what was going to happen was she would have become a liability to her department. She would have been sneaking stuff in, contraband, putting money on his books. A lot of female officers lost their jobs smuggling stuff in for these dudes, putting money on their books. That's how it starts. Man, can you look out for me and do this one solid, man? You know, man, come on, man. It's rough in here, man. You know how it is. You know what we go through, man. I ain't hardly no money. We struggling. You know what I'm saying? Family and looking out for us. You know how that is. I'm guarantee you, this dude, it was going to escalate if they didn't hurry up and remove him. Because once he came in her defense, now she done put herself in obligation to owing him. Come on now. You know I'm the only one that look out for you. These other niggas here, they don't care about you like that. I mean, I saw what was going on. I stepped in. I looked out for you. You know what I'm saying? At least you could do is look out for me. No, I care about you, but I don't feel like you care about me. You ain't returning the favor. I done looked out for you. Now that's your turn to look out for me. You act like you don't care about a nigga. You act like it's all about you. You thinking you all this and that because you got a authority in this and that. They'll go from you know, charming you. They'll start off charming you. Next thing you know, the charming starts going a different direction. They'll go from charming to, you know what I mean, to criticizing you. Like, all before you used to be down. You ain't down no more. You just like the rest of these other officers. You think you better. I thought you was different. Here comes the manipulative tactic. I thought you was different. All these other female officers in here stuck up and think they better than everybody. That's why I looked out for you, because you didn't act like that. I thought you was different. You act just like the rest of these females. You get a badge and some authority. You think you the shit. You think you know everything. Well, I tell you what, you on your fucking own. The next nigga that cuss your ass out, whatever, guess what? I ain't got nothing to do with it. The games. Like I said, it's the small things. It ain't the big shit. It's the small things. Like, I never forget, I had a particular inmate who I well respected, and he well respected me. And he would help me collect laundry, and he would help me collect trays. He was one of the trustees, but we don't call them trustees anymore because you cannot trust inmates. We call them inmate workers, which I think is really the most appropriate name. And we talked and joked a lot. It was never in anything inappropriate, because I never allowed it to get inappropriate. Because you do want to enjoy your job. You don't want to dread it. It makes your time go by quicker when you can kind of just let your guard down, but not to the point to where you're allowing yourself to be manipulated and infiltrated. And we're doing laundry. We're going door to cell, collecting laundry. And he taps me on my shoulder, kind of takes his hand and kind of brush my shoulder, like pat, you know, small pats. I didn't say nothing right then, because I'm like, okay. I know sometimes people come miss and get comfortable. Ain't like he grabbed my butt or nothing. But I said, okay, I'm going to let him slide with that one. If he do it again, I'm going to let him know he can't do that. Because inmates are not supposed to touch officers, period, point blank. Not even something as simple as shaking hands. None of that. So a couple of weeks later, we were doing something. And without him thinking, he brushed my shoulder again. Now, keep in mind, at this time, we're around other inmates. So, one thing as a female officer, I always recommend, don't confront an inmate in front of other inmates. Get them alone, get them to yourself. Because sometimes when you confront inmates in front of other inmates, one or two things go left. Either he gonna look at it like you trying to embarrass him, disgrace him in front of his homeboys, or either his inmates, his homeboys, are gonna boost it up. Man, why you let officer so-and-so check you like that, man? I would have cussed ass out, Always get an inmate by himself. Meaning pull him to the side. I don't mean get him by yourself in a closet or some shit like that. But pull him to the side. And that's what I did. The next day, because it was just too much going on. The next day, I knew I was going to catch him by himself. And I did. And I said, look here. I said, so-and-so. I said, Hicks, I need to holler at you right quick. What's up, CO? Everything good? I said, yeah. However, the other day I was doing laundry. I noticed how you tapped me on my shoulder. And that ain't the first time you did it. You done did it twice. So basically, how I worded it, instead of saying, don't you touch me, don't be doing that to me, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. I say, look here, I don't need no problems from my superiors. If they see you pat me on my shoulder, they're going to think me and you have something inappropriate going on. And he just kind of looks at me a little bewildered, like, because he's not used to me confronting him. He used to me laughing, joking, kiki, blah, 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 blah. That's just my personality. So he kind of looks a little disturbed because he's not used to me putting him in his damn place. Like, what? Oh, really? But it wasn't like he was angry, but I can just tell he was a little taken back. Like, what? He was the wrong way. And I said, to smooth it over, I said, you know how, I said, come on, you know how it is around here. People spread rumors. If it ain't the superior, my co-worker's going to be the inmates. Now I know how they do. They're going to swear we smashing. I don't need them problems. So it got nothing to do with you. I don't need them problems. I don't feel like going to IA having to explain what's going on when me and you both know we just cool like that. I had to soothe it over like that. So he don't think I'm just picking on him or calling him out. And he was like, cool, I understand. But this the second part he said. So that's why I say you got to pay attention to little shit. Everybody ain't built for this type of profession. You have to have a third, fourth, fifth sensor. So after he, said, okay, no problem, I understand. This is what he goes and says, right? He says, because he know this happened, he know the last time he did it was the day before, right? And remember I told you I didn't say nothing to him right then because too many people was around. So he says, oh, so you must have been thinking on this all night. You must have thought about this all night. Now, the average female officer who's slow and don't know wouldn't have thought nothing of that statement. An inexperienced female officer would have said something along the lines of, well, yeah, I did kind of think about it, but, I was thinking about it. That's why I'm letting you know. No, I read into what he was saying and why he said it. He wanted to know if he had that type of effect on me mentally to where his touch, something as simple as brushing me off my shoulder, he wanted me to confirm that it affected me so much to the point I kept thinking about it all night. Like he had that type of mental effect on me to where I was thinking about him. See, that's why I was good at this shit. I picked up on what he said and how he said it. So my reply was, oh, no, never that. I said, no, it's not that deep for me. I just didn't want to address it because we were around other people. You think I'm going to sit there and make you think I've been thinking about it so much last night that I couldn't wait to see you till I got here to tell you about it? Hell no. See, that's that emotional psychology bullshit. And if you are slow in this profession and you can't catch on to stuff quick, you'll get got. And like I said, it's the small things. It ain't the big stuff. It's small shit. Little things like that. You got to catch it. When a man tells you, when an inmate says little things like that, Like I thought about you yesterday. Did you think about me? But like I said, I picked up on what he said. And I knew why he said it. He wanted to know if he was that heavy on my mind. And I had to completely hurry up and check that in a professional, gentle, mild manner. The way he would understand. No, boo, it ain't even that kind of party. It's the little things. Other little things. Being a female correctional officer is it's the little stuff you got to pay attention to. When an inmate approaches your desk, does he always have his elbow, his hands on your desk? That's slowly but surely he's invading your space. He shouldn't be that comfortable. It's the little stuff, little undercover disrespect. That's why I say everybody can't do this profession. Or when the inmate is looking at you, when the inmate notice you're seeing him get ready to do something wrong. Like I've had inmates, they know I don't allow them to pass commissary. So when they get ready to pass commissary, and I look at them, if they stop, they respect you. Like a child. You know how you can look at a child and that child wants to take that extra cookie out the jar, but they look at you and they put that cookie back. That's how you know you have respect. They know you now. It's one thing if they wait till you turn your back because they don't want you to see it. Or they wait till you look your head down. But if you looking at them and they still do it in front of you, that's how much they don't respect you. I had inmates, as soon as I look at them, they get away from the door. As soon as I look at them, they had that commissary. Now, if they gonna sneak and do it, they respected me enough to make sure I didn't see them do it. If they doing it right in front of your face, somewhere you don't have no authority. If you got to repeat yourself several times, get away from the door. Stop sliding commissary and contraband through the door, under the door. You got to keep saying it. You ain't got no respect. That's like a man coming home. He got to yell and scream, I'm the man of this house. Y'all gonna do what I say do. Well, if you got to yell and scream that you the man of the house, then you're not the man of the house. People gonna know you the man of the house as soon as you step foot in there. They stop what they doing. They stop jumping up and down the sofa. They stop running all over the place. If as soon as you come there, kids still running all over the place, still screaming and yelling, then you don't have no authority over your household. Now, same thing being a correctional officer. But I honestly think before they allow, especially female officers, to become certified as police officers, as correctional officers and police officers, they need to have these young women do courses in inmate psychology or inmate communication. It's a way that female officers need to learn how to communicate with inmates. They need to be able to read in between the lines when the inmate is trying to be slick and play mind games, when the inmate is trying to read you or figure you out. Asking you questions. Do you got a man? Do your man work? Now, certain things you can tell them is to your advantage. Like all of the inmates knew I was married, and I told them I was married. Now, a lot of times we're told to keep your personal business to yourself. Don't let them know personal things about you. But certain personal things is for your gain. For instance, they knew I was married, but they did not know my husband's name. They did not know my husband owned a roofing company. They did not know what kind of truck my husband drove. I know how far I give them general information. And the reason why I let them know I was married, because that's my way of letting them know I'm spoken for. I'm not single, so don't come at me thinking I'm manless and I'm desperate. So I let them know off the muscle. I told them that to my advantage. So they already knew I'm married, I'm in a relationship. Now they'll tell you, inmates don't need to know how many kids and stuff you got. Guess what? That's not information they can hurt you with. All of the inmates knew I had one daughter. Okay? Did they know her name? Did they know how she looked? Did they know what school she graduated from? Do they know where she work at? Hell no. I never called out my child's name in their presence. I've never called her name. I was like, my daughter, she graduated today, my daughter so-and-so, blah, blah. General information. Nothing they can look up, nothing they can retrieve. I have a Facebook page, but my last name ain't even on the Facebook page. Because I don't need these niggas looking up anything, trying to find me, trying to locate me, or none of that. Common sense. Females, we are blessed with the gift of intuition. And the only time women want to use intuition is when they want to check a man's cell phone and see if he's cheating. Learn to use your intuition in your profession. Learn to use your intuition when it comes to these inmates, especially if you're a female correctional officer. You got to realize you are around these men for 12 hours. They got all day to study you. They can tell when you sad. They can tell when you mad. They can tell, you know, they can tell when you throw it off your A game. One time I had a rough day. I had an inmate who turned up doing the most. I didn't get a lot of days like that, I thank God. But I did have a turn up day with this inmate. And it kind of threw me off. And the inmate noticed it threw me off. And one thing I don't like, my pet peeve as a correctional officer, is when these inmates can see that you kind of off your rocker. That's one thing I recommend any female officer, even if you're having a rough day, they don't need to see that. They don't need to see that you can't handle pressure. It's dangerous to your profession, whatever. I had one of those days because you're human. It's going to happen. To the point, I was in the middle of doing laundry and I forgot where I stopped at. I forgot. It was something simple I forgot to do. The inmate picked up on that. Tyson, man, you got to pull it together, man. Don't let these dudes throw you off your game, man. Come on, man. What's going on? You know, he sensed I got thrown off. Basically, being a correctional officer in general consists of paying attention to detail. You have to realize when these guys are pulling the fast one on you. They try to compliment you to make you comfortable by saying things like you different from these other officers, you more cool, you more laid back. They comparing you to other officers. Hey, Officer Williams, she always come in here with a nasty attitude. You don't. You always come in here nice and you make us comfortable, you know, in your presence. You know, they'll build you up and say those things to, you know, keep you comfortable to where you become complacent and laxed. And that is how they're able to get over on you. That is how they're able to run game on you. So again, you know, everybody's not built for this type of profession. You have some people that can easily be manipulated. And if you are one of those people, I recommend you definitely stay away from this type of profession. And it's not just women being manipulated. Yes, we are the #1 candidates. You have male officers that are being manipulated as well, you know. So we have to be mindful. Again, stop letting these dudes invade your personal space. They shouldn't be at your desk too often. They shouldn't be in your face too often. You shouldn't be standing at their cell too often for 15, 20 minutes. You're talking to the same inmates day in and day out. You're so focused on having a conversation with them that you're distracted. You're not paying attention to your surroundings. You're not keeping up with what the other inmates are doing. These are just things that you need to be mindful of. But I think next time I'm also going to be doing some content on inmate psychology. That way, as an officer, you become more familiar with the psyche of how inmates think, how they process things, how they will relay it to you. Again, you need to be able to read in between the lines. You need to be able to know not just what they're saying, but how they are saying it and their motives as to why they're saying it. So anyway, definitely be mindful so you don't end up in a situation like Brittany Martin here. She ended up losing her profession. She ended up serving a couple of years. I think they gave her 10 years, but they suspended 5. But the point of the matter is, You know, she'll never be in law enforcement again. She lost her career over an inmate. Nothing she did on her own merit. She allowed an inmate to mentally infiltrate her and mind fuck her to the point he was able to use it to his advantage. Not only that, he was not only able to manipulate her from the inside, he manipulated her on the outside. I will leave the link to the bottom so y'all can catch this For My Man episode, and it is based on a true story. Most of the episodes that they do are based on true fiction stories. She also was able to get manipulated from him on the outside. When he made parole, he talked her into getting involved in a double murder. And all this time during the investigation, when she was defending him and not speaking and basically not giving any details, when she found out through a family member statement that he stated that he would never marry her, he was just using her and how stupid she is. And it took that to happen for her to come clean. Other than that, she was going to defend him no matter what. And she didn't feel the need to defend him anymore until she found out that all the feelings she had for him, he did not have those feelings at all for her. So she ended up just getting played all the way around. And you got to realize that is these dudes' job. Inmates, that is their job. Their job is to detect the weakest link, to find the weakest link and use that weakest link to their advantage. So we're going to talk more about this another time. Again, it's your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Make sure for y'all leave, you hit that like button. Leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this particular situation. Do you think she caused this on herself? Do you think she was just vulnerable and, you know, she really didn't know what she was getting into? You know, let me know what's y'all intake on this comment. I'm interested in knowing. So anyway, make sure y'all hit that thumb up button if you're willing to cash app to my movement. It's Cash App DymondGyrl, DymondGyrl. And again, y'all be blessed, take care, and I'll be uploading some more content sometime soon. Y'all have a good one. Bye.